Hi, my name is Frank Rogers, and for the last 39 years, I've been a contractor in Hawaii, primarily in roofing and waterproofing and painting. But for the last 4 or 5 years, I've been working on a side project, which is how to kind of develop a very affordable housing for homeless and emergency victims. And my passion is kind of design something that's long-lasting, portable, efficient, and also that it has a good emotional component so that people really like living in it and they don't just see it as like a trailer park. My interest with housing the homeless actually goes back to about 1980. Buckminster Fuller. I was a big fan of his. I read his book Critical Path. And of course, with the geodesic domes, he talked about covering the maximum amount of space with the least amount of materials, but using really high quality materials, what they call hub and strut, putting aluminum pieces together, bolting them together, and putting panels. And so I tried selling geodesic domes in Hawaii in 1980, and I didn't get too far because everybody I wanted to sell to, they didn't love the dome as much as I did, and it was unconventional, and they didn't really see it in their house as a place they would live with. And so couldn't sell any geodesic domes. But it did get me interested in the idea of like with a geodesic dome, how quick and easy and inexpensive it is to put up. I don't know if you know the story about Henry Kaiser, who hired Buckminster Fuller to build the geodesic dome at the Hilton Hawaiian Village. And he said, Henry Kaiser was in Oakland at that time, Kaiser Permanente area. And he said, call me, he said, Buckminster Fuller, call me when you start building. I'll catch the next plane out. It's only 15 hours. Then I'll be there to watch it being built. Well, they called him when they started building. By the time Henry Kaiser landed, the whole auditorium had already been built within that period of time. So the relevant point there is that if you use a really high quality material and you can bolt and put it together in a certain configuration, you can assemble it very, very quickly. You don't have the labor costs, yet you have a permanent structure that can withstand high winds, big rains, and that sort of condition. So using that thinking, I decided to make it look like a conventional house because I could not sell geodesic domes based on this odd golf ball shape that people perceived. And they couldn't put their furniture in the corners. People didn't see it as home. People want to look at something and say, this is my home, I can live there. There's an emotional component to it. I work on homes, like I say, for the last 39 years. And so that's what informed me. And then the next thing I know, that I was invited to bid to do a homeless shelter project on Sand Island 4 or 5 years ago. And my two partners, they had Matson container or shipping containers that they were converting for homeless housing. And we got pretty far along in the bid, and the city and county invited us in to kind of explain what we do and what our thing was. And I understood that the biggest complaint about homeless housing usually comes from the people in the neighborhood. It's not in my backyard neighborhood. They don't want to look out and see a trailer park. They don't want to see out and see a homeless village. It's very depressing, and it depresses their home values, and you can't really blame people for feeling that way. So what you had to do, the most important person to sell was the surrounding neighborhood. And so I said, I'm working on one that looks like a conventional house, and actually kind of an upscale house, almost like an upscale dollhouse with a high-pitched roof, which is unusual in Hawaii. But it's very functional because you have a sleeping loft area, or you can store your tools up in the loft if you're a tradesman and you want to work there. So it's very practical, and it also encompasses, like the geodesic dome, the most amount of area with the least amount of materials. So if you use a really high-quality material that won't rust, it's all aircraft-grade structural aluminum, stainless steel bolts and brackets, things that don't allow any mold or mildew. All the panels are sheathed in Formica on both sides, a Formica-like material called a high-pressure laminate. And for that reason, moisture doesn't penetrate it, mold can't grow into it. When we caulk and seal it all up, you can even hose down the inside. So for instance, if you want to sterilize a house and one homeless person has moved out, you're afraid of bedbugs or lice or urine, blood-borne diseases, anything like that, you can just quickly spray this down with an disinfectant, get a pressure cleaner even, just hose it all down, squeegee it all out, won't harm your structure at all. So from that point of view, and from the outside, the moisture doesn't get in, and you don't have moisture coming in and rotting anything from down below. So we believe that our house, when it's built and it's waterproof with our waterproof coatings and paint on the outside, that it will last as long, if not longer, than a conventional wood-framed housing, 50 years plus. If you want to learn more about our product, please go to our website, ThePerfectSpace.com. That's ThePerfectSpace.com. And you can click on that. There'll be a contact information. You'll see some samples of where we put it up. There'll be more and more content all the time. If you register for our mailing list, we're going to have a regular mailing list because there's so much news on this, so much going. Municipalities all over the U.S., in fact, 29 of the 50 states have already okayed the tiny house amendment, which is called Amendment Q. And so if you want to see if your municipality might qualify for this, you're welcome to give us a call. And we also work with the Tiny Home Building Industry Association. And they also are in helping us with this sort of situation. So we're there to help out in either emergency housing, if there's a fire, a hurricane, anything where you need housing quickly. And we're also for longer term homeless shelter people and situations like that. So any of these uses that you find that you might want, please contact us at ThePerfectSpace.com. My name is Frank Rogers, and I look forward to hearing from you.